have to worry about it.
Welcome back to Rockingham Speedway. We're continuing with the Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 presented on speed by Ram. How important are the pit stops? Well, our fastest pit stop presented by Auto Stop. We want to take a look. Timothy Peters coming into his pit stall.
Ken comes in third. He's going to go out first. That's the second time that crew has gained spots on pit road on our 2 pit stops.
And you can see that was complete with a chassis adjustment. They went to the right rear there and made an adjustment on the truck. He was able to get away, didn't have to deal with the truck of Justin Lofton coming in and beat Matt Crafton off pit road. Great stop for those guys.
Fastest pit stop just for men presented by Auto Stop. Hermie.
Johnny Sauter had to make a second pit stop under this caution, Rick. They did not get his truck full of fuel, so he lost track position. He'll be back to the last truck on the lead lap, 11th. He gave up the 4th spot, which would be where he would have started to get his truck full of fuel. So he's got some track position to make up. Ray?
You know, Hermie, I was talking about Casey Kane making a small track bar adjustment. It was just 1 round on the first stop. Well, this time they went 2.5 rounds down to try to continue to help tighten that thing up, and also around a wedge in the left rear. So Casey Kane with some bigger adjustments this time, and he said on the radio, I can't believe these long green flag runs. They're a lot of fun. We've had 2 segments with 60 laps in between pit stops.
Aaron's lucky dog going to the 9 of Ron Hornaday, so he gets a lap back and back on the lead lap. That puts 12 trucks now on the lead lap here at the Rock.
We saw Hornaday battling with Jason White for that lucky dog spot, but Jason had to come to pit road when we have to break. He got 3 laps down. He took a wave around, got 1 of them back, but ruined Jason's day because they didn't get that truck full of gas. We saw the same thing happen with Johnny Sauter. He didn't get his full, but they came back to pit road.
Yeah, they didn't take that chance of what happened to Jason White. They came back in, take that penalty right now, go to the back of the lead lap line.
See if they can work their way back up into the top 10. They've got a few laps to do it in. 73 laps to go. When they get back to the stripe, it'll be 72 laps remaining.
And they've called, the drivers have called their crew chiefs and said, now tell me how many more tires I got left.
How many more can I get?
I got 2 more sets. I want them both at some point during this race, please.
If we go green till 10 laps to go, put them on then. And if there's another caution with 2 to go, put the other set on then.
They've told them they're going to go around 1 more time. Lights came back on the pace truck. Randy Kaiser driving that.
Great crowd here at Rockingham. A beautiful day. So much fun.
Kim Lopez letting them know that they'll go around 1 more time before the green flag will fly here at the Rock.
The lights are still on. Oh, there went off. They turned the lights off, so they are coming back to the green.
As a driver, Michael, you want to go fast immediately because you got the best tires, but at the same time, you've got to think in the back of your mind, I can't wear my equipment out early.
But we've seen the charging method work. We saw PK Jr. out front the whole race. Matt Crafton chasing them down. Both those trucks are good handling trucks. They are abusing their tires somewhat, but these Goodyear tires, while they give up, they're tough. And so evidently they're not pushing them too hard because they've been able to maintain that lead.
And we didn't see anybody make a charge from third. We saw Matt Crafton able to stay with PK that time, but nobody made a charge from outside that top 2 towards the front.
And the lights came back on. It looks as though they're trying to get the 11 of Todd Bodine back into the garage area. And so while they do that, we're still under caution. Let's head back to the Charlotte studios. I believe Adam Alexander is hanging out back in the Charlotte studios for a quick Speed Center update.
Good afternoon from the Speed Center. I'm Adam Alexander. Here's what's happening. Saturday night racing in Texas. Sprint Cup points leader Greg Biffle passed Jimmy Johnson with 30 to go. He gets his first win since Kansas 2010, breaking a 49-race winless streak. Friday night, deep in the heart of Texas, reserved for the Nationwide Series. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. pulled away at the end to get his second victory of the year, his first at the track. Formula One in China, Nico Rosberg dominated the race and took the win for Mercedes. It's the first modern-era victory for the factory Mercedes team. Newly crowned Supercross champ Ryan Villopoto took his 9th win of the year last night in New Orleans. And in IndyCar, Ryan Briscoe took the pole, but Dario Franchitti will start up front in today's race because of the engine change penalties handed handed down to those Chevy-powered cars. We've got highlights from Long Beach on Speed Center at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join Sam Hornish Jr. and myself then. See you later, everybody.
And welcome back. Thanks, Adam. As the field making its way out of turn number 4, green flag goes back in the air. Timothy Peters, Matt Crafton side by side at the stripe.
Casey Kane, he may want to take a peek at this lead here.
You know, he saw, Rick, if he was trying to lay back a little bit, it didn't help because those two drove away from him. He could never rebound. So watch Casey to be a little bit more aggressive this restart.
Timothy Peters was your race leader when they came back to the stripe, but it was the 88 of Matt Crafton with the better start on the bottom of the racetrack that was able to take the lead away from Timothy Peters. And now Casey Kane wants to get second away from Timothy.
Got a great battle for a second. Casey's going to jump to the outside. He was on the inside of Timothy the last lap. Now they swap those positions. How about Ty Dillon now running in the 4th spot?
Just behind him, the 31 and the 30. Teammates battling it out. James Busher on the bottom. Nelson Piquet Jr. up top. Nelson Piquet Jr. after leading so many laps now has fallen back. 107 laps led by Nelson Piquet Jr. in this one.
Remember, Chris Carrier made an adjustment on that truck. We'll have to wait and see. If it will look like Max Gresham may have bounced off the wall again off of turn 2. Now Johnny Sauter is going to drive by him on the inside.
And remember, Johnny Sauter came back onto pit road to fill that thing back up with fuel, so it lost him some spots. He's working his way back up to the front now. Sauter restarted back in the 12th spot. Crafton, Peters, Kane, Dillon, and Busher your top 5.
Max Gresham, Phil, like you said, wow, he about took a ride off turn 2 over there. That's the 3rd or 4th time that wall has snuck up on him. You can see Piquet getting to the bottom of Busher there as they come off turn 4, and Piquet will grab that spot. His truck is, if it's going to handle better, he's going to have to get through some traffic to figure it out. Anytime you got 3 or 4 trucks in front of you, the air off of those trucks, the turbulence, it makes your truck a little bit different anyway, but he's got such a fast truck. As he makes his way past these other guys, he gets up toward the front, he'll be able to see if indeed those changes have helped that thing.
Look at the distance now. Matt Crafton is put between he and Timothy Peters. A second between the top 2. Casey Kane running in the 3rd spot. Ty Dillon, Nelson Piquet Jr. your top 5.
Just outside the top 5 now James Busher, who lost that spot to Piquet a few moments ago.
Just heard won't turn.
Sounded like Johnny Sauter, didn't it?
Miguel Paludo in the 32 on the outside of David Starr. Starr able to get by Miguel Paludo.
That's a battle for the lucky dog spot.
You can see Sauter right there behind Jeb Burton. Jeb's up the hill a little bit, and Johnny will try to get to the inside and take that spot. That's a battle for the top 10.
You know what a nice job Jeb Burton has done. I was talking to Chris Showalter, who works with that team. He said that's the first time Jeb's ever been over 100 miles an hour in a car was when he came here to Rockingham.
But we love the job he did at Martinsville, right? He got out there, he was very aggressive in practice, but when the race started, he got bounced around a little bit, kept his cool, and was able to soldier home to a top 15 finish. So 13th up at Martinsville was a great finish for your debut.
You mentioned the name Chris Showalter. This is the 48th different track that the Camping World Truck Series has come to. And Chris Showalter has been there for every single one of them, every race. As a matter of fact, this is the 49th truck race that's been held on a Sunday, and 13 of the previous 48 have been won by first-time winners. Well, now we've got Crafton, Peters. Both of them have won here. Dillon has won in the, Kane has won in the Camping World Truck Series, but Ty Dillon still to win in this series.
Has he been listening to Russell, you think, a little bit?
What did he just say?
I got numbers swimming in my head.
Statistics. I've got to give you the statistics.
Well, 13 of 48 isn't that big of a statistic, if you ask me.
It was written on the sticky note, though, and you've got to use it.
Oh, it is? Russell's saying it is.
How about Casey Kane now looks under Timothy Peters, trying to grab that 2nd spot away. Good run through the center. Can he hold that momentum? He does.
Casey Kane takes the spot away from Timothy Peters. So Kane up into 2nd. This is the highest he has run today.
And there's the guy that was the class of the field early, Nelson Piquet.
We saw him pass Busher a few moments ago. He's lost that spot back.
So James Busher back in front of Nelson Piquet Jr. now.
You wonder if maybe he got sideways again, Phil. We've seen people struggling with keeping their trucks straight. He might have about lost that baby again.
There's Johnny Sauter just in front of Joey Coulter. Now Coulter running in the 11th spot. Just lost a spot to Johnny Sauter, running 9th now. So Sauter back up into the top 10.
Looks like Sauter said he wouldn't turn, but he's making some good progress. He's driving up on the tailgate of Justin Lofton. You could see Lofton's truck won't turn, then it's sideways. That's what I was talking about. It pushes in the center, and all of a sudden it's out from underneath you on the exit. Johnny looked like he was handling a whole lot better than Justin Lofton right there.
So that's 8th for Johnny Sauter. Now he moves by Lofton. Does Johnny Sauter speak in code? Because at Martinsville, I'm pretty sure he wanted to load that truck up. Said it was terrible, loaded up, and the next thing you knew, he was battling in the top 5.
I've heard him speaking in code before.
I think it's code that he talks about, because he just talked about this truck won't turn, and he's getting ready to break into the top 5.
Well, Johnny has enough experience here that he knows what that truck needs to do, and he's trying to get Joe Shear to get him there. He's got a good truck. He's got a top 5 truck. Obviously, he was running in the top 5 most of the race until he had to come back down pit road on the caution and top it off with fuel. So he needs Joe Shear to try to help him get that thing to turn a little bit better.
Nelson Piquet got around Busher again, and now he's getting ready to grab the spot away from Ty Dillon, racing up toward the 4th spot right there. Ty's done an awesome job again. Let's not forget this young man, new to this series. He's been amazing in the races we've watched him so far, and another solid run in the top 5. What about that race at Martinsville? He was lost on Friday. He got found on Saturday, run 2nd.
You know, one of the things he did Friday night, Michael, he watched an onboard camera tape from Johnny Sauter when Johnny won last year, and he spent all night Friday night watching that onboard camera tape of Johnny Sauter's, and look what he did on Saturday during that race.
Along with his crew chief. His crew chief worked with him. They talked about what they were seeing and tried to understand what he could be doing differently, and I'll be darned, 2nd place finish.
And Kevin Harvick helped him a lot. Not only did he get in his truck on Friday and help him with the setup, he helped talking Ty about that racetrack.
A lot of learning to be done by Ty Dillon, but he's got a lot of races still in the 2012 season.
Now, Phil, I know you understand this, but if these guys went down in the corner, let off the gas, went around to where it was time to put the gas down and just floored it, they would all spin out.
Every single one of them.
Everyone would spin out. These guys are just, it's a balancing act. It's a dancing act between the hands and the foot, trying to give it all the gas you can and keep the wheels going straight.
You do a lot of steering at this racetrack with a throttle. Not only, sometimes the tires get so slick it won't respond to the steering wheel. You have to steer it with a throttle, and that takes experience to a large extent.
Which drivers like the Casey Kane, who has a lot of experience in sprint cars on dirt tracks, do that all the time. So there is one of the reasons why Casey Kane is so good at a racetrack like this after never driving a truck on this track before.
And Matt Crafton has so many starts in the trucks, no matter where you put him, he's pretty comfortable. He understands what he's got. Now, Piquet, that's an interesting story. Where did he learn to hang on to something like this? But he's been amazing so far.
Probably not Monaco or somewhere like that.
Ron Hornaday, we saw him get the Aaron's Lucky Dog, battled Jason White forever for it, grabbed it from Jason, and now he's trying to turn that into some sort of performance here today. The truck just hasn't been fast. He's back in 12th right there. Watch Ross Chastain right in front of him. Oh, contact.
Ross got a little bit loose, as did Ron Hornaday as he tried to turn under Ross.
Bouncing all over the racetrack. We talk about the bouncing, the rough surface. Is this the type of racetrack that you like? As a driver, is this the type of track you want?
Every one of them is sideways, hanging on. Watch these two. That's they're while it's going on, it's the coolest thing ever, and that's so fun. And again, I think something that makes it really fun is these lap times we're looking at. These guys are able to be they're finessing the trucks around. They're hanging on to them when they're not wanting to do what they want them to, and it's a ball. I love it. I'm like Denny Hamlin. I want to race. Give me something. Let me try. I don't want to drive it if Denny builds it though. You don't know what he's doing, does he?
I'll let you go with that. You just called Denny Hamlin out.
I think Denny heard that too, by the way.
Doing. Nelson Piquet Jr. led a lot of laps early. Now in the 4th spot, Crafton out front.